So, looking at the first question, what are the top three implications of the Macondo incident for contract risk management? And I guess that really obviously gets to the nub of the question. I think firstly, there's been a greater focus on everybody's contractual arrangements post Macondo, where in the past, there were historic contractual obligations that were left unpapered. This is increasingly less the case. So, for example, it was often the situation where, as lawyers, we'd be doing due diligence on an asset sale in the North Sea, for example, because quite often contractual obligations have become very complicated over the years. Inevitably, where something fell into the too difficult bucket, it may have simply been left unpapered, whilst everybody was used to commercially dealing with a complicated allocation issue, for example. Over the years, it hadn't been subjected to a contract. And of course, the risk of that is that things come unraveling when there is Macondo. So therefore, I think some organisations have audited their existing arrangements, including their joint venture arrangements, and not just as a result of Macondo, but for example, Buncefield in the UK and various other disasters. Equally, I think it's fair to say that there has been renewed concentration on the application of indemnities and liabilities, and of course, as we know, there's been increased pressure on the no gain, no loss principle of operation, and moving on, wasn't Macondo a black swan event, and why rewrite the rules of contracting for something so rare? Well, of course, the scale of Macondo, the black swan event, was rare, but the incidence of more minor explosions and blowouts and health and safety issues on rigs, of course, are more common, and I think it's not a question of the rules necessarily being rewritten post Macondo, although of course there is increasing pressure from Europe and elsewhere on the health and safety environmental front. I think it's simply an opportunity for people to reconsider whether or not existing regulations be enforced better, or in some very rare situations whether there is a case for, in fact, greater regulation itself.